Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the It's Just Football podcast. I hope you're doing well in lockdown. We are three teenage boys who just want to talk about football. It's lockdown, it's terrible, but we might as well fill the time. So I am going to hand over to Maani, but before I do that, just two things. Number one, just hit that subscribe. You know, it's free. You might as well do it while you're there. And while you're there, just hit that thumbs up button for the like, which would be brilliant. And also one other thing, our other co-host, Santi, is in the countryside. His Wi-Fi is shocking, so he'll be back for the weekend. But Maani, over to you to introduce our guests.
So today we've got two guests. We've got Chelsea fan Jack and Tottenham fan Henry. How are you doing, boys?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Very excited. First episode.
Great. Yeah, we're very excited too.
Bad,
Yeah. So, Oscar, why don't you start us off?
Right. So we've got a big first thing. I'm going to go to Henry first. Henry is a Spurs fan, right? Henry, your top four. What is it? What do you think it will be?
So I can only see Man City winning the league from now. They're 15 wins in a row kind of shows it all. Really, they're on a good roll so far. Liverpool, I've got in second. They've got a 9 of games in the future. So, and they just beat Leipzig, so they're obviously going to get a confidence boost from that. And then in third, I've actually got Leicester. I think they've got a better team than they actually did when they won the league. So I feel like they're going to carry on getting 3 points, really. And then in fourth, I've got Man U. Just on a good run so far. So, yeah.
All right. That is interesting. I think I'll go to another person. Jack, what's your opinion on the top four? Henry's controversial.
It's definitely City to win the league. I think they're 7 points ahead now, game in hand. They're running away with it, really. I think actually Leicester will come second. I think they've been strong, had a good performance against Liverpool. I know they got a bit lucky with a couple of goals, but I think they've been really good. I've been impressed with a few players, Harvey Barnes being one. He's on great form. And I think following then United, and I hope Chelsea come fourth, but I think Liverpool will edge it at the end. They had a good game in the Champions League against Leipzig, and I think, yeah, that's my top four. But I do hope, I mean, West Ham are up there, but yeah, that's my strong top four. I think it's got to be those four.
Yeah, I do. That's a very good top four. A bit more realistic than Henry's, but that's my opinion. Maani, what are you saying? The big Chelsea fan here.
Right. Well, Oscar, I think you're going to call mine a bit unrealistic, but I've gone with City, Chelsea, United, then Leicester, and I don't think Liverpool are going to get top four, which is controversial, but I think just because of recent results, yes, they're doing well in the Champions League, but I think Tuchel's got momentum. I think we're going to do well with him until the end of the season. I don't think we're going to lose any games. Not any games, but many games. But United, I think the defence will let them down in a few games, especially the big game is Chelsea United as well. That could determine who finishes above who. And I think Leicester deserve it this year, and I think they're going to get it. Last year, they got affected by many injuries, Ben Chilwell notably being one. But I think this year they've strengthened their squad, and I think they're going to get top four.
Yeah, I would agree with you, bar Leicester. I think Liverpool, there has been a lot of, worries about their defence. Their defence is shocking. But with the introduction of Kabak, I think they probably will get top four. Klopp, he's not lived up to what he was last season. The whole squad's not. But if they're still beating teams like Leipzig, who I do not have a good history with as a United fan, you can definitely say they will get top four. And the reason I think Leicester won't, it's just due to the fact they were, I think, 23 points ahead of United last year in about January. and they bottled it. They completely bottled it. And I think we've seen it time and time again from Brendan Rodgers' team. Liverpool 13 to 14 season, when they were, I think, 6 points clear with such little games to play. They beat that Man City team 3-2, and they just bottled it. And then again with Leicester last season. So I just don't see them breaking out. And with the injuries, you know, you've seen how key Fofana is to their defence. Last year, Soyuncu and Evans seemed such a solid partnership, but Fofana is brilliant. He's honestly superb. So for me, it would be City, United, Liverpool, and Chelsea, if I'm honest with you, because I think their Tuchel will get going. He is there. Obviously, the manager's bounce. I understand that. There's going to be a lot in the next coming weeks of Tuchel's just going to run away with it. He's going to go on this remarkable run like Ollie did when he came into the job. But I do see progression there. You know, if you look at the Chelsea squad a month ago, well, that Leicester game, like the defence, there wasn't any. You might have been playing Stevie Wonder in defence, just terrible. So I think that's my top four. Has anyone got anyone else? Anything else to say? Nothing else? All right, we'll move on then to the next thing. Right, this is going to spot. Well, I think we'll all agree on this. I don't know yet, but what colour is London? Jack, go.
It's a tough question. It is, and I think right now I'm going to say Chelsea. I think we've been brilliant under Tuchel. We've had our just unbeaten since he's come in. I think the lineup's stronger. Players are performing a lot better than they were under Frank. There's a bit more confidence. But I think beforehand, looking at the run-up to that, I think that West Ham were really strong. They've been playing well, obviously, provided that they haven't really beaten many other competitions. So they've had a lot of time to rest between games. It's been a big topic to their kind of success in the league. But I do think it's got to be up there with, I just think Arsenal, they can't really be in the argument anymore. I mean, obviously I'd like to see our rivals competing, but they're all the way down at 10th now. So I think it's a bit poor. And obviously they've got a few good players, Saka, Aubameyang's now starting to turn up. But yeah, I think I've got to go with Chelsea. Spurs have been on and off, but yeah, got to go with my team.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with you there. I think Arsenal now, if you look at them, they haven't been good for 16 years. And people will go to me, they'll pick out specific fixtures. You know, Ahmed, our friend, thinks that Barcelona game, he keeps on remembering it because that's their only good fixture in the last 16 years. I don't see them this season. What have they shown? They've shown they were 15th at one point. You know, it's dire. And I think realistically, every season there's something wrong. Every season, last season, their defence, Mustafi, Socrates, shocking. So I don't see them in the argument. I think West Ham are a good fairy tale. They've been superb this season. David Moyes done a brilliant job. Lingard, you know, what a player. But we will find out more about West Ham when they play like proper teams like Liverpool and see how they do now in the second half season. But Henry, the resident Spurs fan, how are you feeling?
You know, I'd like to Spurs, but I just can't. Maybe at the beginning of the season, I would have. You know, we were doing really well under Mourinho, but the tactics have just gone stale. Really, everyone knows our plan, and that's it. Really, I want him out. I think personally, Chelsea is the colour for London at the moment. Tuchel's come in. They're unbeaten so far. Werner looks like he's performing well. Back to best, really. So as long as they can get Havertz going, I can just see it rising for them. West Ham, obviously, they're on a really good run. Last year, they were in the relegation battle and Moyes has just totally changed it around. So, yeah, I think it's blue at the moment, which I hate to say, but...
Yeah, no, that at least you're honest. You're not like an Arsenal fan. You're not deluded, which is really good.
Well, so, I've got no reason to say Arsenal.
Yeah, no one does. But if Ahmed was here, he could have said, but he's not, so that's fine. Maani, your turn.
I respect Henry for being honest. And Oscar, as you said, yeah, we deal with a lot of Arsenal fans. But yeah, I think if you look at recent success as well, not just this season, like, I mean, Arsenal haven't won a Premier League title in what, 17, 18 years. And yeah, I think you have, if you want to be the colour of London, you've got to be successful, and the only thing they've won is the FA Cup, really. I genuinely can't think of any other competition they've won in the last like 10 years. But yeah, London is blue, no doubt.
Definitely. Just as well on Mourinho, I think he's now washed up. I don't know if anyone agrees with me, but how many clubs now? So when he came to United, right, I gave him a season, and because prior to this, prior to when he came to United, he'd won the title in every second season he had at a club. When he didn't win it and he was overshadowed by Guardiola, I was like, hang on a minute. The style of football we were playing, reminiscent of what Spurs are playing now, the way he plays doesn't adapt to the modern game, because pressure, teams like Guardiola just pressurize you, and the players, which Tottenham have, I'm not saying they're bad, but if you look at their defense, the Colombian PS4, Davidson Sanchez, he is shocking. Okay, did you see him on the game on the weekend? Like, he was terrible. Like, the new Boateng against Met, it was awful. So the thing about Tottenham is, if Mourinho played that like with the 09-010 Barcelona, when you knew every single player was just ridiculous, they were the best in the world at the time, then I would go, okay, you've got the thing. But when you look at their defense and you look like they're starting Harry Winks in midfield sometimes, you don't go, that's not really the style we need to be doing. So I think that is why we've seen now at United, when he had Fellaini and whatever, and now at Tottenham, that if he does not have the quality of the players which he requires, which is a huge amount, his style is not going to work. And I don't see him going to win. I don't see him winning the Carabao Cup, or I don't see him winning the Europa. So that's my opinion. But I think Tottenham now really do need to go and get Nagelsmann or someone like that. That's my opinion. So on to the next one. Now, I think Jack and Maani and Henry, you're obviously going to be in this, but I think I want to get onto this. What is going wrong with Kai Havertz? And Maani, I'm going to come to you for this, and then Jack, I'll go to you. But Maani, go for this first.
Right. Obviously, Kai Havertz, the big money signing. He's come to Chelsea. People were expecting him to kind of take the league by storm, be the new Michael Ballack, some people are saying, and it has not worked at all. He's got like 1 goal, 2 assists in the Premier League, and obviously he's got that hat-trick against Barnsley, but that's Barnsley. Look, I think people can slate him and say that he hasn't done enough, but I'm just going to defend him for a bit here. Look, he's 21. He's come to new league, new country, second language. It's not a new language for him. He spoke English before, but as soon as he started to kind of adapt to the league, he was starting to adapt to his position, which I will come on to in a second. But against Burnley in the 3-0 Burnley win, he started to play quite well, and then COVID happened, and he was one of the players that was more worstly hit, and it didn't help him. He was out for 2 weeks, and I think another thing, as I just said, the position. Lampard. I mean, like, I love Lampard, but the stubbornness of the 4-3-3 that he was playing in like the later matches of his reign. Havertz was playing like just in front of the CDM, whether that was Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic. I don't think that suited him at all. At Leverkusen, when we saw him, he was playing almost as a second striker, like a cam, or in a 3-4-3 in one of like the left forward or right forward roles. And he was just playing too deep under Lampard. If you saw his touch maps, it just wasn't really working for him, and we weren't playing to his strengths. And I think, yeah, that's why he hasn't really performed as of yet. But I'm still confident that he will be a good investment for the future. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a great response, Maureen. I think he has struggled with COVID, I will let Jack and Henry speak. I'm going to make a point afterwards, but I think let's go to Jack. Jack, what do you think about it?
I think, listen, he's been thrown in the deep end. We paid, I think, a bit too much money for him, in my opinion. I think that you look at Odegaard coming in, and I'm interested to see Odegaard coming in because I don't compare Havertz to the level of those likes of like McTominay, Mount, Saka. I think they're just a level ahead at the moment. Obviously, they're the same age, but I've got to be realistic. And I do love Chelsea. And I want the best for Havertz, but he hasn't really shown the same style of play that he had done in Bundesliga. But then you can't compare the Prem and the Bundesliga because they're just two different leagues. Like, I was talking about this the other day with a friend, and like you look at Premier League teams in even Sheffield, right, bottom of the league, but they'll give us a game. They'll give Chelsea a game. They'll give Spurs a game. Every team in the Prem will give you a physical, good battle. And I think Havertz is surprised by that. I think that in order for him to start doing well, he needs to pick up like Timo did and score against the lower level teams in the Prem, and then build that confidence to start playing under pressure. Because obviously we know that pressure, it can destroy players. It can. And Havertz, he might have the skill, but he's showing a little bit more speed, some courage under Tuchel, but I think he definitely needs to step up. He needs to look at players like James Maddison and, Harvey Barnes, and look at those kind of players, and they're starting to try and get goals, get assists, get those stats up. If he wants to be considered, potential, he needs to do that, because I back him, and I back Pulisic as well. I talk the same about Pulisic, but if they don't start getting goals, how can you call them good players or class players in the league, So, yeah.
That's a brilliant point, Jack. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. The desire for Havertz at the moment is not there. I don't see. I know it was at the end of Lampard's reign, but the Leicester game, his desire to get onto the ball and drive at people. I know I'm a United fan, but if you watch Bruno and if you watch Maddison, you see they're direct. They're all trying to look for Vardy or Cavani, just always picking off passes. So I think that's a great point. Henry, what's your opinion on Havertz?
Yeah, I totally agree with Jack there. I haven't really seen that much of Havertz, to be honest, but I feel like maybe it's too much pressure at a young age. He's only 21 still, and he's just come from the Bundesliga, which, let's be honest, it's nowhere near the level of the Premier League standard. So, I feel like he needs time to adapt. You see Ndombele now, and I'm not saying he's the best like Cam in the Premier League, but he's getting assists, he's looking bright. He's had 1 year to adapt now, and you can only just see he's getting better and better. So yeah, I think just giving Havertz a bit more time to see what he can do. I feel like he will be a great player in the future.
Yeah, brilliant. The only thing I would say on Havertz is when you look at him, right? I don't want to be rude here, but when players come to the Premier League, even not performing, they have one specific talent, right? They have either pace, they have the shooting, or they have passing. Now, I'm not saying Havertz is bad at any. I'm just saying he doesn't have a standout like talent. People keep saying to me, "Oh, he's quick. He's quick for the Bundesliga," right? And Timo Werner said something very, very interesting at the start of the season. I think it was when he played Brighton, and it was Duncan Webster at the back, and he said he had never seen two of the centre backs more athletic, more strong, more quick than them, right? And the physicality of them is such a difference from Bundesliga. So the pace difference from the Bundesliga to the Prem, I think, is such a big thing. I could be quick in Bundesliga. Jack probably could, right? Henry could. But in the Premier League, the standards just go up and up and up. And I think that one thing Havertz does need to work on, and he needs to find his specific trait. If that's passing, if that's shooting, if that's pace, or if that's physicality. You see what Adama Traore's done. When you look at him in his Middlesbrough days and even his Barcelona days, he was not a big guy like we know him today. But he worked, he trained for that physicality, and now he has to put baby oil to try and stop defenders fouling on him. So that is now Havertz. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, on that point, I want to pick up on it, because I think it's interesting you say that, and talking about, Lewis Dunk, Brighton, the centre backs, right? So, I mean, you take Foden. Let's take the best youngster, right? Let's take him. He's quick. He's all right. He's not the fastest, but you see him. You see Neto. I love watching Neto. I've been watching a few Wolves games, and they outwit everyone. Like, it's not just speed. It's not just skill. But when you make a decision, you've got to be like a few steps ahead of the defender. You're coming up against. And the differences between them and the lower level youngsters are that they're ahead of the players who are more experienced, and they're making better decisions on the field, whether that's be to pass, to shoot. I mean, Foden against Liverpool, and it was a masterclass, really. He's just so bright. But if Havertz wants to start improving, he needs to start adapting quicker. Like, he's had the time to see what it's about, and he's played against even Barnsley. They're a physical team. I mean, it's not obviously the level of the Prem, but it is the physicality, and he needs to start playing better. He needs to come out of his skin a little bit,
It's spot on. I think that's a brilliant point. So I think we've digressed Havertz very well. The next thing, now this is directed at me. I think I'm going to have about a 4-minute rant here, but I think I'm going to go to you first because I'm actually quite annoyed still at West Brom. So, Maani, opinions on Man United's centre-back pairing, Dumb and Dumber, as I call them. So go for it.
Right. So also, just to be clear here, are we talking about Maguire, Lindelof, or like Maguire, Bailly, or like all three of them?
We know which ones there are. Like,
yeah,
I think,
okay. Mainly Maguire and Lindelof, I think. But
yeah,
I think look, Harry Maguire, he costs United 80 million, and they're gonna play him. They're gonna have to play him. So I think the problem is trying to find a player that can complement him, and Lindelof is not that person. And I think you could say Bailly is, but Eric Bailly, he gets injured like every 5 minutes. So I think they need to find someone who is similar to Bailly, fast, quick, powerful, intelligent on the ball as well, just to help Maguire, because we know he's not intelligent on the ball at all. But someone like Konate, I think would do well. I'm baffled as to why they didn't sign anyone in January. I think that really would have helped their title race. But yeah, I think Oscar, you've got more to say on that as well.
Yeah, don't get me started on the United board. Honestly, they have the most money and they can't spend it. But that's for a whole different day. But Henry, what's your opinion on Maguire and Lindelof?
Yeah, I think it's really letting Man U down. I feel like Maguire needs a fast player alongside him, because he gets caught out really a lot. You saw against Spurs when Harry Kane was threading through them passes. Maguire just didn't know how to handle with them, and they looked like total idiots at the back, especially against Spurs, letting six past us. That kind of really solidified that they aren't the pairing that Man U need at the moment. And you look at Man U's previous centre-backs, and all you see is just legends, really, like Vidic, title winners, and Maguire and Lindelof are nowhere near it at the moment. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, Henry. I think if you look at all the players we've had over the years in that centre-back position, you've got Ferdinand, and then comparing them to Lindelof and Maguire is almost an insult. It's shocking. But yeah, Jack, what's your opinion on that?
Well, I just think, I'm confused, really. I think that you've got Bailly, you've got Tanzabe. I know he hasn't had the greatest of games, but I think that you need to start backing the youth. I think you've got to start backing those quicker, those stronger players, because Lindelof, I mean, you put him at right back against Leicester a few games ago. He's just not. He doesn't have anything. Doesn't bring anything to the team. He's slow. He's a bit sluggish. Maguire, sometimes he's an attacking threat. He's good at headering the ball, but you know, they're kind of built like bricks. They don't move as swiftly as other like Zuma, Rudiger. You know, I mean, I hate to be a biased Chelsea fan, but it is true. And look at City, Ruben Diaz, amazing as well. But yeah, I think that, I mean, I don't watch United a lot, but what I do take from them when I do watch them is they like to get up with the fullbacks a lot, and I think that kind of relieves some of the pressure off the centre backs because they predominantly keep in the opposition's half. But yeah, I mean, I wanna see your opinion on it because it is interesting.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, firstly, it's favouritism, and it is, right? It's like our midfield, McTominay and Fred. Solskjaer, ever since he's come in, right? And no, actually, I'm not going to say that because in the early that stage of his, January to May, his first bit of the season, he rotated the squad a lot, right? But ever since Maguire came in, that defence stayed the same. It has done, okay, and especially the centre back pairing and those two CDMs. The favouritism Lindelof and Maguire get is a joke, and I know why it is. It's because we all know that Zwanzebe and Bailly have that mistake in their game. They do. That Bailly is mad. He did a Cruyff turn in Chelsea's box last year, right? Like that was just mad. And Zwanzebe did an amazing tackle on Mbappe. Don't get me wrong, but I'm telling you, if he mistimed that by 0.01 second, like later, that's a red card. That's a penalty, and we lose that Champions League tie. It doesn't matter now. We're out of the Champions League. That's fine. We get over things. But again, it's favouritism. It's like McTominay and Fred. McFred, shocking, right? They're too defensive. And until we sign a proper centre back, and if this board wants to win a title again, that centre back pairing we've got in the minute, it can get you third at best. That's all it's getting. It got us that last season. That's all it's getting. It's getting nothing else. It's getting you a semi-final as well. You cannot win titles with that centre back pairing because centre back pairings, you have two players. You have the quick one, right? You have the quick one who's gonna intercept that fast player like a Maani or a Salah, and then you have the one who's like quite built, who's physical, bit slower, but can put in a blockbuster challenge and shut that attack down, right?
Like a Fofana Evans type of link up.
Exactly, right. What we need, Maguire and Kanate, right? Upamecano, he's an idiot, right? I didn't want him. If he goes to Bayern, why is he even there? Like, it's stupid. I don't know why you would do that. But anyway,
I think that
Kanate needs to come in. Yeah, go on, Harry.
I think that if Man, you want to improve, like you said, the board is just far from it at the moment, a bit like Spurs. You can't just keep on having these Cavani signings. Even though he's come in, he's done all right, scored a couple of goals. You just can't keep on having these like panic transfer windows where you sign Falcao, sign Cavani. Just needs to be a bit more organised, I think.
Our board, Henry, is a mess. It's an absolute mess. And I hope, because the Glazers own that Super Bowl team who won it, I hope they get their act together and start spending on United because it's embarrassing. Like, and also they think Cavani, they announced on Insta like they were signing bloody Lionel Messi. They announced Cavani like, oh, let's all hail Man United's board because they've signed a free agent. He's been free agent for about 11 months. It's shocking. And until we get a director of football, I don't think it will change. But this summer, what we should have done last summer, we need to go out and get a right winger, Sancho. Right, I know it's big, but we're the biggest club in the world. Arguably, we are. Right now, the two Spanish giants have fallen off a cliff. We are. Right. We need to go and get a right winger, a centre back, and a CDM. Right, a proper CDM, not like this box to box or tenacious Fred. No, proper CDM. Something like a Declan Rice. I'm not saying Declan Rice because I think he'll go to Chelsea, Mason Mount, but I think get him in and start doing that. Right. This morning, I've done my rant, luckily. This morning, we asked on our Instagram for you to search, to ask us questions, which we're going to answer now. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. You get daily updates, little polls, to lighten up your day in lockdown. So you might as well follow it because it's a good thing. So we're going to go to the big one first, right? And this has been, I don't know who sent this one, but predictions for Chelsea Atletico. Champions League's back. Jack, I'm going to go to you first. What are you thinking?
Right. It's not looking good. I'm not going to lie. It isn't, because they've just got João Felix back. And I watched a game recently of theirs a few weeks ago. But they are good. They're good. They're quick on the counter. And if we're playing players like Asby, we're going to get ripped. We've got to have the players that are quick that we were using under Frank, like Reece James. He's got to start. Chilwell got to start, in my opinion. There have been a few players that I've been quite confused that haven't been playing. And I can see that Tuchel's trying to play it safe with the experience. But against this team, they are strong. They're very strong. They're top of the league. Like, it's going to be a big challenge, big. And doesn't mean that I don't think we can do it, because we're in form, but it's hard. They've got a few really, really key players that I think arguably world class, which we just don't have at the moment. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I think their attacking force, Thiago Silva and Rudiger could have a good day, but defending João Felix, like some Koke, they're just, Suarez as well. They're just on another level. Maani, what are you thinking after Tuchel start, and what are your predictions?
Right. Well, I totally agree with Jack. And one thing though, the venue's been changed, and obviously I know that there's no fans at the moment, so you could say there's no home advantage. But I think it's in like Romania now. So I think the first leg's which should have been played in Madrid is now going to be played in somewhere in Eastern Europe, and I think that will help us a bit. If we can get like a draw in the first leg, I think away goals will count as well, which is a bit unfair on Atletico, but we're going to need all the luck we can get because they are the best team in La Liga right now. And if we can get a draw in the first leg, then in the second leg at home, when we're quite strong, we can try and bag a win. But yeah, it's going to be a hard game, but I'm confident.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. We've seen this season at home and away doesn't matter. It doesn't. Like, we went to the so-called Leipzig Stadium, and we United know what happened there. But I don't like the Champions League now. We're not in it, so that's fine. Henry, what are you thinking? Chelsea, Atletico. We're in Europa. So
this is kind of a game that is really hard to predict. Like, especially in the Champions League, anything can happen. As you've seen previously, Spurs, Ajax, Spurs, Man City. I think it's Atletico's to lose. I think if Chelsea can go there and get a result, get an away goal, I think they'll come away with it. But you see these Spanish teams now, and they're just amazing to watch. Some of the players don't get the recognition that they need, like players like Koke. They're just so fast on the counter-attack. But personally, I think it will be 3-2 to Atletico on aggregate.
Yeah, I don't know what the Chelsea people think, but I do think Atletico, just because of their attacking force, and let's not forget their midfield. Llorente is a player. I know he's great on FIFA, but he's actually a player. But what's everyone's prediction? My scoreline, I think I'm going to go with Henry on this. I think it will be a high scoring just because the attacking of both teams is just phenomenal. I think it will be 3-2 Atletico. Jack, what's your prediction scoreline?
It can either go one of two ways. It can either be a tight defensive masterclass, or it will be a shambolic battering. But I'd like to think, for the first game at least, I'd like to come away with a 1-1 draw. I'm happy with that. Get a feel for them, and then move on to the second.
Definitely. Maani, what are you thinking? Optimism?
Yeah, I think a 1-1 draw for the first leg would actually be very good for us. And then snatching like a 2-1 win, maybe like last minute goals and at the bridge to maybe make it 3-2 on aggregate. That's my prediction. But
yeah. Should we come back for reality for a minute? No, I'm only joking. But Maani's definitely dreamt of that last time. Mason Mount taking his shirt off running to the corner flag. But anyway, now we've got a good question. Penultimate question we've got. I'm going to go to Henry first. Henry, who is the best keeper in the Premier League?
Well, it's got to be Alisson, really. Even though the last 2 games he's been absolutely dreadful. Nothing like him at all. But players make mistakes. I feel like he's only going to improve now and prove the media wrong. But yeah, he has had a stinker for the last 2 games, playing out from the back. But, I'm not even going to use excuses, but Liverpool's centre-backs aren't great. So he is having a tough time at the moment. But I think when Gomez and Van Dijk come back, I just think he'll be unstoppable.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think goalkeepers will have bad periods. Like I remember in 2015, De Gea had the shocking game against QPR or something like that. And then the next season, for 3 years, he was the best goalkeeper in the world. No one could deny that. Ponytail De Gea was superb. But on another note as well, if anyone disagrees with me in this, but I think I don't think Gomez is good enough. I really don't. I think he is very overrated and he's just good because people think he's good on FIFA. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't think he's that good. And I think Liverpool need to be looking they were linked with Upamecano, but they need to be looking at some serious centre-back options this year. If it is signing permanently on Kabak, if he turns out good, or someone like that, because I don't think Gomez is the long-term solution if they want to go and win like what they've done for the last 3 years. Maani, what are you thinking on best keeper in the Premier League?
Right. Well, I think it's between Ederson and Alisson. No one can deny that at the moment. I think, you know what? Actually, Lloris has saved Tottenham quite a few times, and he's a very good keeper. No, I'm not saying he's up there, but
hang on. Did you see the weekend?
He'd probably be in a. I know, but this season he has saved them quite a few times. I've seen. I think he'd be in third. But the 2 Brazilians, they are on another level. I think yes, it's really hard. It's really hard. Look, Alisson, he was one of Liverpool's best players last season. He's one of the reasons why they won the league. But then Ederson, you look at him, you look at his passing, and like in the modern game, the importance of like the keeper's ability to pass out from the back, make nice like long balls, play players through on goal. We saw it at the weekend with that amazing assist for Gundogan. I can't actually answer this one. It's between them two, but yeah, that's my verdict.
Yeah, look, that it is like that pass on the weekend. I really wanted to see him take a penalty. I thought that would be hilarious. And Rodri nearly missed it. So, but Lloris, he can't save a Word document. But anyway, Jack, what do you think about?
Listen, Oscar, I think you might agree with me on this one because on the old sports debate chat, I did see Emi Martinez up there, and I think that he hasn't been given the credit that he deserves because this season, in my opinion, he's been the best. And I think Ederson is definitely my favourite for best keeper over the last few years. But I just think that Emi Martinez, he's outstanding. Villa's been great overall, and I'm very impressed. I think that he deserves to be starting for a Premier League team. He just is that good. I mean, against Arsenal, that save against Xhaka's free kick was just incredible. Don't know how he got to it, but yeah. So for me, it's Emi for sure this season. But you can't take away from Alisson and Ederson. They're superb. They're world class. But then again, they're in world class teams, so got to take that into consideration.
Yeah, it just sums up Arsenal, the signing of Emi Martinez, just thick. Selling a better goalkeeper than your number one goalkeeper. It's just Arsenal all over. You can't get better than that. But I agree with you, Jack. I think he's superb. He's only had one bad game, and the shots he faced against West Ham, they were still good from Lingardinho. So I think we'll move on. I think we're split there. I think Maani's Alisson, Ederson, and we both Emi Martinez. So the last one, and I'm sorry if we can't get to all your questions. We have had about 9. So there's just not enough of the time. So this is a big one, I think. And this is from Druin, our good friend. Curtis Jones is better than Mount, right? And I know you're all going, just wait, let's bear with this. Henry, I'm going to come to a Tottenham fan. What is your opinion on this?
I don't know. Curtis Jones is a great player, but Mason Mount, you just can't. I don't think there's a debate, to be honest. He's got, I don't know how many goals he's got this season, but he's scoring, he's making assists, he's young, he just looks really promising, to be honest, and so does Curtis Jones. But I feel like Mason Mount has just had more to prove. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think that Curtis Jones, he's great. He's so promising, and I think he will be in Liverpool's midfield like Maani and Salah have been for the last 5 years. He'll go on, right? But at the minute, Mount is just on another level. He carried Chelsea through that Lampard end of the era stage. He was superb, and he still is. He's still, his work rate, his passing and his shooting superb, and his defensive work. So, he reminds me of Hullet. I know that's a bit of a stretch, and I think it looks like I'm a Chelsea fan, but he really is an all-round gifted player, and I think that he will become something very special, and hopefully that is in the World Cup when England win it, not Euros, sorry. But anyway, Maani, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on this. My opinion on Mason Mount. He's amazing. He's been Chelsea's player of the season for me this year. And I mean, look, I think it was a bit of an unfair comparison from Duran. He's a Liverpool fan. He's very passionate about Curtis Jones, but Jones hasn't had the same amount of game time, I don't think, as Mount. And you could say he's in a better team as well, so the other players overshadow him when Mount's been our standout player this season. But yeah, I think Mount, he's going to become something special. I think he could become the Chelsea captain soon, very soon. And maybe even the England captain one day. John Terry said it on his Instagram live a couple of days ago that he could become an England captain soon, just because of his leadership qualities. But yeah, I think he's going to be
let's calm down.
I think he's going to be a big part for England at the Euros, and a big part for Chelsea in the future. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Jack, I think I already can predict your answer, but you might as well say it. Go. What do you think?
I mean, Drew, and I'm going to quote Troops on this one. What are you putting in your teammate? Because it is just, you can't answer that question. It's just uncomparable. Mount's way better. Blows Curtis Jones through the roof. I actually, not going to lie, I did pick up Curtis Jones' Future Stars on FIFA recently. But this is real life. This is real football. And he's only scored 1 goal in the Prem. I've just got up the stats. Mason's got 10. So, yeah, I mean, listen, Curtis Jones is young. He hasn't had enough playing time. He's on a big team, so Mount kind of does have the edge. Also, Mount was playing under Frank, so I can see where the argument might come from. But personally, I think Mount's more effective. He's got a bit more drive, and I mean, he's a contender for a starting England spot potentially, and Curtis Jones isn't. So that's my argument settled.
Yeah, I think the Euros this year is going to be very interesting because I don't think as many people will look at the team use as they've done before. Like, there's going to be so many people waiting an hour before kickoff to get that team use because our midfield options, you would pay billions of pounds to have those. And even our attack and our defense, well, our centre backs, risky. But, if we complement that with brilliant fullbacks, which we have, Trent Alexander-Arnold, James, Wan-Bissaka, all these people in right back, that is such a lucky thing to have. And, I think teams like Scotland, Wales, or whoever, like small nations, would die to have that. So I think that was very good. Thank you very much, Jack and Henry. Jack and Henry's socials, because they've come on, will be down below. So make sure you give them a follow. Jack doesn't need followers, but you might as well go. I think that concludes it. I think thank you everyone for coming on. We really do appreciate it, and you're welcome back anytime. That should be it, Maani. Do you want to finish it off, wrap it off?
Yeah, just I think that was a very successful first episode. Hopefully making more content in the future. And yeah, just make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and get those notifications on so you know when we get a video. And yeah, that's what I've got to say.
Thank you very much.